Welcome to a new episode of our Revisiting series. Today with me is the lovely Samira Kentrić. Welcome.
Thank you.
And as you can see, also the video launch is this time around a bit different. Samira is actually with me in person, and also the digital essay itself is somewhat different from what we had in the past, because it's not just a digital essay, but a little bit more kind of an illustrative, almost graphic novel style sort of thing that we've prepared for you. But before we start our talk, let me introduce Samira to you. She's an acclaimed Slovenian artist and illustrator. She has made countless book covers for books such as Diana Matković's Zakaj ne pišem or Roman Rozina's Stolic lepote. And there will be many more. And she's also an author. So, for example, we have this lovely book, Balkanalije, which also has a German translation. It was translated by Barbara Anderlič and it came out in 2021 with Jacoby and Stuart. And it was actually presented at the International Berlin Literary Festival, if I'm correct.
You are.
Then we also have another one, which is this beautiful Adna, which talks about a refugee girl, if I'm not mistaken, and also explores, being a refugee, but also sexuality, being a woman, exploring all of these facets of a person. And then another one, which is actually, there's just a story of yours in this one. It's a beautiful story. I'll show you just very briefly, which came out in Borec. And it talks about, if I'm not mistaken, Srebrenica, and also a story that's connected with that. And as you can see here, let me just get it. You can see that visually, Samira's language is also very strong and political. Now, Samira, you were in Pristina as a resident in October 2021, if I'm not mistaken. You've prepared this wonderful essay for us. So just tell us a little bit about it. Was it your first time in Kosovo, or how was the experience for you? In just a couple of words.
Yes, it was my first time in Kosovo. That's why also I wanted to go there, because I was in most cities in ex-Yugoslavia, but not to Kosovo. Few months before I was in Albania, so I was really interested how it would be in Kosovo.
Okay. And since then, have you been back, or has it been the only experience so far?
The crazy thing is that I've been back in less than a year. I went to Pristina for another reason, and I had a great time there as well.
Okay, wonderful. So it kickstarted something.
Exactly.
So you are very visual. You're an illustrator, an artist. You've also had, for example, I think this year, a wonderful exhibition in Koper in Slovenia. You have upcoming things also, I think, in Trieste in Italy. There's also been actually in Berlin as part of Periscope and the Slovenian Film Festival a couple of years back, an exhibition of yours in Berlin at the Sputnik Cinema. You also had another exhibition at the Literaturhaus Leipzig, so there has been lots of things. So tell us a little bit about your visual style, how you work, where you get your ideas from, and what is your inspiration?
Where to start?
We have time.
Well, my inspiration depends on what kind of task it is. Sometimes I get some arrangements from publishing houses, so I get some novels that I have to do book covers for. So in that case, mostly I use computer as a means for drawing. Mostly the reason why I use computer digital drawing is in most cases I don't want my handwriting to show. Like, I think this is the information that's not really necessary for the message that I want to put on a cover. So in that cases I use digital drawing, and when I draw for myself or from some I don't know, some other need that I personally have, mostly I use hand drawing. And for that exact reason, so it's also kind of signature drawing. But the interesting part maybe is that I use both hands for drawing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when I draw on computer, when I draw digitally, it started like that when computers came to my life, I didn't have my own, and I'm left-handed, and most of people are right-handed, so the mouse was mostly on the right side of the computer, and this is how I learned. So I started drawing with my right hand on the computer, and this is how it stayed. So I use my left hand when I draw by hand, otherwise I use my right. This is how I do it.
That is wonderful. I'm left-handed too, and I'm also, because, well, when I was taught how to use a computer, because we are that generation that kind of were brought up with this, I also use my mouse with my right hand, although I'm left-handed. So because that's just where it was put, and it was said that's how you need to use it. However, I do write with my left hand. So another thing we have in common.
Exactly.
But so if I understand you correctly, that means that, of course, for example, in Balkanalije, this was mostly hand drawn, and then all of it. Yeah. But like later on, in like. Because of evidently you have all of this to scan in, so it's prepared. Were there any corrections afterwards digitally, or is it purely hand?
Not really. Not in this case. No.
Not in this case. Okay. What about the story in Borec? Was it mostly just digitally drawn, or was it a mix? It looks mostly digital.
Exactly, and it is. First, there was a story. I was talking to a man that is the main figure in this story, and once I had a story, I also had a lot of photos of him that I did there at the spot. So photos for me are too realistic. I don't think they show the essence of what I wanted to tell. So this is why I used photos at the beginning, so I got some similarity in portraits and so, but otherwise I wanted to do it black and white and very plain, because the story is also very direct and very plain.
Okay, so it's I guess what you mean is that when it's a photograph, it's kind of, it stays on the surface, and you wanted to penetrate that, go deeper.
Maybe also do it more personal.
Okay.
Yeah. So because actually it's not like a reportage, it's still a story with some exact points that this guy wanted to present, and also I thought they were most important.
Okay. But what I really liked about this digital essay that you sent us with like it's very fragmentary to some extent. Like it's really kind of like little glimpses of what happened, which I really enjoyed. And I hope the viewers will enjoy it too. Because, I mean, you are a Slovenian artist, but your parents came as economic migrants in the former Yugoslavia to Slovenia from Bosnia. And this also, for example, plays a huge role in Balkanalije. And it's also something that you do tend to revisit, because you still go actually back quite often to Bosnia. You still have friends there. How does it, or because even again in Balkanalije, you also talk a lot about politics from a very personal perspective, because the political does enter the private always. How does it generally inform your work? Because I also know that you used to work for a daily newspaper, commenting visually on what was happening. So how does the political influence what you're doing, what you're drawing and writing?
I think in any sense possible. I've always been very interested in politics, also for that exact experience from our family, from the war that was happening in Bosnia. I was a teenager at that time, so at that time also I became very interested. I read all the newspapers, also I was watching TV a lot, and so I wanted to create some kind of, some kind of matrix or knowledge, like a structure that whatever information comes later, I know where to put it. I wanted to understand society. Let's put it like that. And for me, the challenge for me was how to draw society visually, of course, because I always wanted, and I was drawing all the time already, and these were just some new issues for me that were so interesting that I just wanted to draw actually political situation. So that's how it started.
And then so there is this political kind of like patina to a lot of your drawings or illustrations, but where do you start actually? Because what I like about your illustrations sometimes is that they're kind of almost on their head. Like you have a very particular kind of way of seeing things, and I feel that you always bring out something unexpected in your commentary. So how do you, when somebody says, make this book cover or make this illustration on what's happening, how does your thought process work? Like, do you sometimes, for example, when it's a book cover, do you just, do you think about the book globally, or is it like a detail in the book that you want to underscore or underline? What is the method?
I will always think of some of a book or some story globally, and mostly I also always take into consideration what is the title of the book, because usually when I do a cover there will be a title and this image, so this is very important to work together. Otherwise I really like to use humor, and something for me, visual humor is something of course unexpected, so I use a lot of symbols that we all know. We know the meaning of these symbols, and I try to turn them around, something really unexpected, and this is mostly how I do it.
Great. But coming back to your residency, I mean, you were there thanks also to our residency partner, Kendra Multimedia in Pristina. Was there like one specific moment that like really made you feel connected to the place in particular? Like, because you were there a whole month, but is there like one memory that really sticks out from the rest? Or
when you ask me like this, in this moment, I would say it's a national gallery. It's a gallery for me.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't only do books. I also do visual arts. I do performances. I do installations. So galleries are kind of my thing. I like to visit them. So there was one really good exhibition going on from a guy named Muja or Muja, I'm not sure. And it was about Kosovo war, and part of it was also about identity. And this one really spoke to me. I spent a lot of time there and just somehow observing and thinking of all of this, because identity is something that I'm also really interested in, because I think it just takes too much of space today. I don't think identity, for me, it's not so important. I think identity is the way how to, for me, identity is something that you can use in small talk. We can talk about, I don't know, our pasts, our, I don't know, nationalities, our hobbies. This is all part of identities, but for me, this is small talk. What I'm really interested in is more about social class.
Okay.
About justice and this, what we have in common. Identity is always something that is very specific for individual, and I don't think this is so important for, I don't know, common good. So that's why I would like to stress class more and identity.
That's an interesting way of looking at it, and I think we could talk about this a lot now, but I don't think we have quite the time. But maybe at another opportunity we'll delve deeper into this issue. But anyway, I think that was kind of it, unless you want to add something to say to the viewers or the readers about what they can see on the digital essay. If there's anything you want to add? No?
What is not in an essay, and what I was thinking is also very important. I don't understand Albanian language, I don't speak it, but the feeling I had there, I felt at home all the time. For me, this was really interesting. So it's a very inclusive society. It was for me, at least.
Okay.
This experience.
Perfect. So that's a wonderful way of ending it. I think that's lovely that you really felt at home during your stay there. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it from us. Thank you so much, Samira. And everyone, you can now go into the description box under this video, and you can click on the digital essay and read it. I hope you will enjoy it. This was it from us, and well, till next time. Thank you. Bye.